What's good? What's good? What's good, fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to another excellent show, Voice of the Fans podcast. I am your man Cam, down here on location in Southern California. Mr. Cleveland is up in the Northwest. So is the sun still up? Is the sun still out up there?
No, not really, Cam. It's gotten back to its 9 month weather prediction, which is cloudy and a little bit of drizzle.
Cloudy and a little drizzle. Just you can just count on that one, huh?
You can count on that, yeah.
Well, it cooled off today. This morning it was like 55 degrees this morning, and you know,
It's
and
37
then all of a
degrees this
sudden,
morning here in Seattle, Cam.
wh- what's that?
It was 37 degrees here this morning.
Ooh, winter is upon us.
It's fall.
Winter,
It's
fall.
fall. It's fall, but
Yeah,
it was
yeah, okay.
37.
Call it what you want. It's colder. It's colder than it needs to be. Mr. Cleveland, this is week 160 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. We appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you for being part of the show. Want to give a shout out to the guys at HMB Media TV. If you have not done so, go ahead and follow them, HMB Media TV, as on YouTube. And as always, want to thank you guys again for tuning into the Voice of the Fans podcast. In this episode, man, we're going to do a week 5 recap. We're going to do a week 6 preview of the NFL. We're going to reveal our power rankings. Uh, also, this week we're going to reveal our NBA top 75 list. Now, we just got 75 of the best players of all time in the NBA. We weren't able to do it last week, as many of you know, was kind of infiltrating the Clippers locker room there, and I kind of had to get out of there and pay attention to the game, so I didn't hear any lip about that. But now we're gonna give you some show. We're gonna make up for some topics that we didn't share with you last week. Excuse me. We got a lot of GM topics that we're gonna touch on as well. So thank you guys for sticking with us. Um, and we look forward to having a great show. So feel free to go on Voice of the Fans on YouTube and leave any comments that you like, and we'll be asking some questions. Like Cleveland, my first question to you, with it being October 13th, 2021, week number 160, when you think of 13, who comes to your mind first, and who wore that number the best?
Oh, we know, Cam, who comes to mind first is James Harden because I understand how much he is regretting his decision to force himself out of Houston to Brooklyn, understanding what a head case Kyrie Irving is and may potentially cost him an NBA championship. So he's the first person that comes to mind. Now, who wore it best, as we both know, is Golden Arm Dan Marino.
James Harden is not regretting anything. I'll just answer that question for whomever you got that from, and I'm thinking it's just I'm thinking you Laker fans could come up with something like that. That would come up with that comment to kind of throw a wrench in the NBA favorite to win the NBA championship for 2021-22 season.
Oh no, for
I'm
sure.
thinking that
They're the favorite
I
if
think that
Kyrie
came
Irving
directly
wasn't a
from you guys.
participant. Of course, his participation is, very much up in the air. So that's why I'm saying James Harden comes to mind first and foremost.
Uh, you say Kyrie's participation is up in the air? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. As of right now, there is no participation. So
Oh
until
well,
he,
yeah.
until he gets a shot like you and me and every, the other 275 million people in this country, I mean, yeah, he's not playing.
Well, let's be very clear. Let's be very clear right here at the beginning of week 160, episode 160 of the Voice of the Fans podcast. With or without Kyrie Irving, the Brooklyn Nets are the favorites to win the NBA Finals championship.
Oh man, Cam, come on, man,
With
shut your
or
mouth.
without.
Shut your mouth.
With or without.
Shut your
You
mouth.
you mentioned James Harden, possibly the greatest.
Cam, the Brooklyn Nets will not win the championship if Kyrie Irving is not a participant of the Brooklyn Nets.
they'll do it much easier. I mean, they'll do it much easier with Kyrie as a participant. Without Kyrie, a healthy James Harden and Kevin
Cam, I'll
Durant
say it again. The
are
Brooklyn Nets will not win the NBA championship without the participation of Kyrie Irving.
well. I mean, because you repeat it doesn't make it any more true, sir. just because you repeat what you're saying doesn't make it any logistics. I mean, I mean, if you feel that strongly about it, I mean, are you trying to put something on it?
Oh man, yeah. Can we put something on it?
If you tell me if you feel that strongly about it, I am very confident that with or without
Okay,
Kyrie
well, we
Irving,
will
the Brooklyn
craft the
Nets.
bet in such a way that there's an out for you when Kyrie Irving doesn't participate, or if he doesn't participate and the Brooklyn Nets don't win the championship. So, yeah, no, we'll work on that. I'll get back to you on that for sure.
Get back to me. Circle
And
back on that one.
fans, by
Circle
next
back
week,
on
we'll have the framework for how this bet is going to work.
yeah. Circle back on that one. Um, so the answer to that question, number you try to throw the James Harden there. Who wore this number best, or who do you think of is none other, none other than Dan Marino. And I could have
Mhm.
stopped right there, but then we got Wilt Chamberlain, Nate Robinson, Slick Watts. But
Now, just stop
Dan,
right there with golden arms, man. Stop right
Dan
there.
Marino is the first person that should come to your mind, and the guy who wore that best. Number the number 60 with the being 160. Who come to your mind first, or who wore that number best?
The only person that comes to mind for me is, the clothesliner Chuck Bednarik from the Philadelphia Eagles, man.
Chuck Bednarik, yes, him and or Otto Graham. Otto Graham, who didn't miss a game in like 13 years playing center in the NFL. Back when I don't think some of his years, I don't think they had face masks. So Otto Graham was a guy who played that position pretty not only consistently, but as they say back in the day, like it was supposed to be played. So Bednarik and Otto Graham were the guys who kind of come to your mind, come to my mind first anyway, who wore the number 60 best. All right, Cleavon, the time has come, and I do fans in all 100% honesty. I had to change the way I approach this topic from Friday night to Sunday, Monday morning, I should say. Because Friday night I was going to ask, like, should I be upset with the conversation, the tone that former Raiders head coach John Gruden used in his email? Should I be upset about that? And why I framed it that way is because we know one of the worst things that penetrate this country and that infests this country is racism. We already know that, and then that's nothing new. So to act all high and mighty, to act as if racism didn't exist, hasn't existed, and we all have, or people that look like you and I haven't experienced it, would be, I mean, it'd be disingenuous at best. So I wasn't. Was it disappointing? Sure, it was disappointing. You come to respect some of these guys for what they've done and some of their history. You know that they're a leader of men. You know that it. Well, you would think that their racism can't cut too deep nowadays because half the NFL, not half, more than half the NFL is played by black men, right? Young black men. So how how much of a racist can you be? Because you need them to build to get success, right? Your success counts on their abilities and your ability to work with them. So how racist could you be? However, what comes out is not only did he had disparaging comments against DeMaurice Smith, the NFLPA, who actually kind of last week he was out. He was going to be out of a job. This week, all of a sudden, he's able to keep his job. I find that kind of odd, but nonetheless, just DeMar Smith is able to keep his job because of I can't even say why but he's able to keep his job, and it's probably just because it'll look bad if the NFL tried to fire him today or replace him today. Let's just leave it at that. But not only did John Gruden attack DeMar Smith and black players who played and plays and played in the NFL, but he went on to say that women don't deserve to be officials in the league. There's no place for the women in the league. He just disparaged gay players dating back to Michael Sam. Kind of thought that was a joke. Thought that the NFL kind of rigged the situation for the St. Louis Rams to draft him. I mean, he wasn't alone in that thought. I'd have to be honest to say that that was a prevailing thought in amongst NBA, the people in the know around the NFL. Excuse me. So he just decided to, take a blowtorch to many different facets of this country and the people who make up this country. And with that being said, the NFL would look bad if they allowed this to continue to go on. And what's another thing that's odd about this is that he was the coach of the Raiders, who the Raiders were the first one to have a minority head coach. They were the first ones to have a minority quarterback. The Raiders have been where a lot of people don't like the Raiders just because of the image they have, and then people think they're dirty or what have you. The Raiders have actually been one of the more progressive teams in the NFL, and with their owner, the pioneer and the what's the word for him? Al Davis, the rebel that he was, his willingness to fight back against authority, kind of turned some people off. Yet the Raiders were the most progressive teams in the league for many years. So I have to change the form and the phrasing of my question, Cleavon. And what I want to ask you is a couple questions. Number one, why has Gruden become the scapegoat for these emails? If there's 650,000 emails that they have, and this was from their internal investigation of the Washington football team, why was John Gruden the scapegoat? I'm not saying that he shouldn't have been for these emails, but just why is he the person that's chosen? And then the second question I have to ask you is, what happens? John Gruden wasn't having this conversation alone. I don't think this is like Facebook. We know the emails aren't like Facebook, where you can have a conversation of your own on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, where you just post and stuff, sharing your thoughts. When you send an email, you send it to somebody, right? And you send it to somebody hoping to get a response. And do you think the guy he's sending them to didn't respond to these emails, or didn't feel John Gruden felt comfortable enough that he could share it with this Bruce Allen, I believe it was? Do you feel Bruce Allen didn't feel the same way, or whoever he copied on it, members of the Washington football team, the Redskins at the time, didn't have similar thoughts, similar feelings? I'd like to know, and probably have to do some of my own homework to identify why is John Gruden being the scapegoat. And Cleveland, I'll leave it at that. And what's your thoughts on the situation?
Well, I think that John Gruden is being a scapegoat because of anonymous agendas. We don't know exactly which person leaked these emails. Again, there's 650,000 of them that they're going through. So how these came to the forefront so quickly and so prominently, that's not really for us to say, but they did. And again, we're holding them to standards in 2021 that perhaps were not the standards back 10 years ago. That is not in any way um,
Well, racism wasn't accepted 10 years ago.
admonishing, yeah, what it is that he was saying and what it is that the emails were conveying. At the same time, your main question is what was the responses to all these emails, and we don't know. And because the emails are property of the National Football League,
We'll likely never know.
they can or cannot release those.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that the NFL Players Association is trying to get, well, let's get all of them released.
Yeah.
Let's hear what they wanted to say about Colin. Let's hear what they want to say about this or that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're just,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they are sifting through them. But at the same time that they're sifting through them, there are other people sifting through them too that are quietly leaking this information, right? So they
So,
don't even know, they honestly do not even know how to get in front of this, Cam,
well, there's
because
no way to get in front of it
there's no
because
way to
you,
get in front of
you're
it. But at
the
the
way you
same
put it
time,
already.
what they're trying to do is have some sort of control with regards to what emails come out or not, because they can't just let all of them out at the same time.
Well,
That's just not in the best interest of the league.
that, and again, to act like some of this conversation is, it's kind of like when you were with your mom. You were with your mom and you went out to dinner at one of her friend's house, and you slipped up and cussed, or she slipped up and cussed, and then she catches herself and is like, "All right, mom, mom, we've heard way worse than that at home." And so here you are trying to act like you don't cuss out in public, but as soon as the door closed, I'm gonna beat your ass and clean up your motherfucking room, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and that's a little bit what we see here is the NFL has issues, and you brought up a very good point, is where what were the owners saying about Colin Kaepernick? What were the owners saying about uh, the anthem, back in 2017, 2018? What was the majority of the owners actually thinking and saying? Um, and those that might be discussed in some of those emails. Cleveland, I kind of sometimes every now and then I feel bad when I look at my email account of various email accounts. I know my Yahoo email specifically has somewhere around 35,000 emails just because I haven't cleaned it out. I haven't checked them, all my emails. So I kind of feel bad. And I see that number. I was like, maybe I ought to do something with this. But that's a lot of emails. It's so many, I don't have, it's too daunting of a task to even go through and delete the junk that's in there, right? There's 650,000 emails to go through in this
And
situation.
Cam, again, like I told you, here's how it works. If nothing's going on, it's just white noise, right? If you get a little bit of smoldering, it's like, I'll get to it. If you get a little bit of noise, it's like, oh, okay, what were you talking about again? When you get like a mass hysteria and then the system works the way the system is truly capable of working, all they have to do is want to know bad enough, and then they will know.
Yeah.
There is no such thing. The way technology works, and I don't understand why people don't understand this, or maybe they understand it but don't think it pertains to them. It pertains to everyone. If you say something in a technological kind of a way, man, it is permanent and forever. If you call someone, if you send an email, if you send a text, if you post something on Facebook, if you post something on Instagram, it's forever and ever.
Yeah,
So
the saying goes is one of the one of the court shows that I like is Judge Billy on, and her term is say it, forget it, write it, regret it. And that's to going to the point you just made. You could say anything, unless it's being recorded, you're good. But you write it, you write it. You put a post-it note, electronic post-it note up for the world to it's out there in the
to
world.
see and retrieve anytime they
Yeah,
want to. Now, most of the time they don't want to. I mean,
right,
who cares
exactly.
what you
Yeah,
who
exactly.
cares what you and I are emailing about? You
Yeah.
get you get rich and famous, Cam, and you're worth 500 million, and they go back to you know things from
It's gonna be
2010,
delete, delete, delete.
2011.
It's gonna be delete, delete,
It's because
delete.
they want to, right?
Well, because we got a lot of show
And
scripts.
here's the irony of this whole thing is that it wasn't that they were investigating the Raiders or John
Right,
Gruden
right.
for what
Yes,
he was
yes,
saying.
yes,
They
yes.
were investigating the Washington football team. And it just so happened that they stumbled across
So you bring
their
it back. You bring it
650,000
right back around.
scrubs of email. They came across these. And
You
it's
bring
like,
it.
oh, wow.
You bring it right back around to where we started. Why is John Gruden the scapegoat? Like that's something I would like to know. Why? Why?
Because those are the emails that were first
So
leaked. If
so is
other
this
emails
no
were
no no
first
no.
leaked, they would be the scapegoat.
So no is are these emails on a scale of 1 to 10 the 3 and 4 most harmful emails?
Oh, for sure.
So that means that there's some emails on a level 6, 7, and 8 that's a lot more harmful that we should
Yes.
expect to see here coming out fairly soon.
Depends. I mean, now that we've seen how things are going, again, it depends on how much they want to know. And by this point, the NFL has already stepped in and said, okay, we need to plug up these leaks. Hey, man, these are the ones that we're going to send him. And John's already, you know, on the firing line. He's already the scapegoat, man. Let's not dig too much deeper.
So you think Gruden is going to put a start? He's taking away all shovels. Then he's
No, no, no,
taking
no, no. It's too late for that. That's what
not not
they're
not
trying to do.
not Gruden, but Goodell. I'm sorry. You think Goodell is trying to? He's taking away all shovels. No more digging. Nothing to see here. Let's move along.
He's
Nothing.
trying to do that, but it's way, way too late. Once you get into 650,000 emails,
Yeah,
and again,
there's
like
got
you're
to be
saying,
something
Cam,
there.
we don't even know what the response is on the other side. It's just what they've received, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. And
you don't have the response.
he's
So
not having a conversation by himself.
no,
Somebody had to open up the email on the other side, and I don't think they probably didn't open them and put them in a folder where fire John Gruden folder. They probably responded to him, and I'd like to know what that response is.
no,
So
yeah, he's by no means the scapegoat, but he is the first person that got leaked. We don't know where the rest of the leaks are going to come from, or if the whole Tyke is going to break. Man, we don't know.
so is this just being a conspiracy theorist here? Is this the deep pockets of Dan Snyder at work where
No,
nobody from his office, nobody from his front office, nobody from his team.
no,
Paul,
Cam,
not Paul, Bruce
Cam.
Allen's son.
See, Cam, you're taking it back like 30 years, man. Like I can just bigwig him, I can just outspend him, I can just drop some change on this dude. No, that's not how technology works. Once
No,
they know and they can start pulling things out, they just start pulling, man.
well, we're gonna see. There's a lot, in so what you're saying is there a lot more to be uncovered here in the near future, and we're gonna see how.
Absolutely. I mean, we've already gotten Adam Schefter like trying to get Bruce Allen's permission. This Bruce Allen dude, man,
Yeah,
he's gonna bring a lot of people down. And
well,
we
I
don't even know
mean,
what his response was to any of this. We just
and
know that they sent emails to him. They haven't
and
said anything about what the response was. But I mean, Adam Schefter asking like permission, can I, make any edits to what I'm gonna say that you want, and then I'll say it. It's like what?
yeah. Well, so a lot of that goes on. You got to check with the organization as to. I found myself in this situation, oddly enough, where you do have to kind of.
I mean, get permission, but don't say like, "Hey, this is what I'm going to write," and then you tell me what I should and should not write. That's a
exactly.
whole other kind of a
That
thing.
that isn't
That's like you
my
writing
my
something and be
conversation.
like, "Am
No,
I cool
seriously.
writing this?" Yeah,
In, in,
but you
in all
don't.
serious, in all seriousness, Cleveland. In all seriousness, those I've been in the room with those conversations I had. I'll put it like that. Is it okay to report on this? Is it okay to write about this? I think this would be a good story. Is this okay to write?
But after you
Yeah.
write it, do you then have to submit it for their permission and make the
No,
edits
no,
that they
no,
want?
no. You don't submit it for their approval.
Okay, well, that's what
But
Adam Schefter was doing with Bruce Allen.
well, I doubt he's already written something and looking for approval. I think
No, he wrote it, sent it to him, and then said, "Make the edits that you think are
Oh
necessary."
yeah. Okay,
And
I didn't
that's a
hear that.
whole other thing, right?
I didn't hear that story, but yeah, that's
Yeah.
now that's yeah.
So now you're dealing with your journalistic integrity, right?
Well,
Because
there is
now
no
you're going to be
journalistic.
writing
There is
this
no
for him.
journalistic integrity. If that's the case, there is no journalistic integrity.
Okay.
You're reporting
So
on what he wants you to
you
know.
see how this can of worms is getting out of hand really, really fast,
And
right?
but yeah, and it goes back to what I was saying. Like, is his response like? And you do have those conversations. Like, okay, what's okay to share? What would you like me to share? What do you really? I know it all, but what how do you want to approach this and try to have try to play both sides of it, if you will. But there's a lot of work to do. And again, Dan Snyder, like his name has to come up. Bruce Allen was a high ranking.
See, it has to come up if the leagues keep leaking, because now the NFL knows the volatility of
But
what
there's
is in
already
the emails.
and why I say that it has to come up is because there's already been issues within the Washington football team's front office.
No, man, no, you're
What do you mean, though?
You're simplifying this, man. John Gruden has already been ousted from the NFL family.
Right.
There are, like we already have discussed, there are several more emails that are probably more egregious and in language,
and
more disparaging.
and disrespectful to many
So
other
the
people. Yes.
NFL is onto that, man. And so whatever they can do to control that, they will. However, whoever's leaking it is already started leaking it. So they can only do as much as they can do.
So final question on Gruden anyway is we know he's not going to be coaching again. We know he's not in NFL, college, or whatever. I mean, he could get a college job. I think a college will hire him just on name recognition alone. But we know he's not going to be on Monday Night Football, which he was pretty solid at Monday Night Football for 7 or 8 good years there. Will we see the Fire Football Coaches of America? Will we see that program again?
We won't see it as nationwide as it was previously, but yeah, John Gruden still has a following, if that's what you're talking about. Is he completely banished from football forever? Absolutely not. There is a great percentage of the country that has no problems with anything that he said or did or the emails that he sent, and they 100% concur with that. And ironically, a lot of those are football hotbeds, man. So yeah, you can go down somewhere. I'm not I don't want to throw them under the bus, but he can go somewhere down south and be a personality again for sure.
So well, I mean, there's a lot of avenues for the Fire Football Coaches of America to come back on stage. But that was my question. Now, so enough of Gruden. He got the ousted, and we're going to see which direction the NFL goes now, because there's more has got to come out. Cleveland, did Brian Flores finish the season? Because his Dolphins are going backwards.
Oh, they absolutely finished the season. Who knows what would have happened if Tua Tagovailoa would have been healthy for an entire season?
Oh my goodness!
The results would have been dramatically different, in my opinion.
Would you stop it?
I mean, it's unfortunate that the playoff dreams of the Miami Dolphins that started the season, unfortunately, do not look like they will come to fruition. But I don't think that's necessarily Coach Flores'.
You're losing credibility. You're losing credibility trying to sound as if Tua Tagovailoa was behind center all game. First, I told you, I told myself I wasn't going to get too crazy about this. Let me calm down. I know it's not good TV, folks, but I gotta take a deep breath because Cleveland right now is lost his grade, and I gotta correct this. For you to say that you don't know if the results of Tua Tagovailoa would be if the season of the Miami Dolphins would be different.
No, what I said is that
I heard what you said. I heard what you said. The fans heard what you said. You're trying to intimate if Tua was the starting quarterback for week 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, like they would have a different record. That's exactly what you're trying to intimate right there.
That is exactly what I am insinuating. Yes, if Tua Tagovailoa was healthy and under center for all of those games, I don't think their record would reflect a 1-4 record.
What would be the record? What do you think?
3-2, 2-3.
So my whole issue, Cleveland, if we just go back to last year, the whole issue with drafting Tua was he was injury prone, right? He was fragile as
that was your biggest phobia. Yes, that was your biggest phobia.
Why is it so hard? Why was it so hard to predict that he'd be out missing 3 games back to back? It wasn't so hard.
He worked out the whole off season. He was in the playbook.
Because you don't get hit.
He was in the weight room.
Don't get hit. You have a red jersey on for mini camp. From April to September, you have a red jersey on. Where they don't want to. They don't.
Okay, but Cam, you don't go into the season anticipating players getting hurt. You go into the season with a game plan, and hopefully you're able to execute it with the personnel that you have.
When you're a fragile little tulip, yes, some people expect him to get hurt.
Wow.
Yeah, some people expect him to get hurt. Yes.
I don't know if I call him a fragile little tulip. He is an NFL football quarterback. So I mean,
well, is he? Is he? Is he? We might see him on Sunday in London against Jacksonville. We might. No promises there.
Yeah, let's not go with that one. Let's try for the week after that.
Because your boy can't stand firm on a decision. Like they've asked him for 5 weeks now. Who's calling the plays over there? Oh, I don't. Oh, we all agree on a play call, and I personally, I sign off on a play, and we have 3 different people relay that to the quarterback. Like, dude, who's calling the freaking play? That's what we want to know.
Well, Cam, that team won 10.
For the quarterback?
Cam, that team won 10 games last year, and they had a lot of
last year. You know what, Cleveland? Last year,
skilled players that they brought on board this year. Again, Miles Gaskin having an additional year.
You're trying to make fun of the situation. They brought in Will Fuller. What did you expect from Will Fuller?
Will Fuller the 5th.
Yeah, what did you expect from Will Fuller?
Well, fans, if you've read my book, Inside the Mind of a Lunatic Fantasy Football Player, you know that
he has a paragraph. He has a paragraph, right? Exactly.
He has a whole half of a chapter as to why you should never put your faith in him.
Oh no! So now you wouldn't even put your faith in him playing fantasy football. So playing fantasy football, but you're trying to say the Dolphins bringing him in was a good decision. You see what I'm saying?
I didn't say that.
Fans, do you see right there what I'm saying?
I did not say bringing up the Will Fuller the 5th was a good decision. What I said is that's one of the decisions the Dolphins have made.
You said bringing in all this talent. You refer all of this talent, and you brought up Will Fuller. Like he was going to be a difference maker.
Potentially.
Like he was going to be a difference maker.
I mean, if you put him in the right situation, Cam, to flourish,
Fans, when you hear this guy start talking about
next to Jalen Waddle,
when you hear this guy start talking about Steve Nelson and the Miami Dolphins, there's example number 213 of why he's full of shit right there. Okay, because he wouldn't even have faith in Will Fuller, one of their prime.
I would never have faith in
acquisitions.
Will Fuller the fifth.
Exactly.
And fans, if
In
you
a
ever read my
fantasy
book,
situation,
Inside the Mind of a Lunatic Fantasy Football
you wouldn't
Lover,
have faith of him
you
in a
will know
fantasy
why.
football situation, but
He's feast or famine.
you want Dolphin fans to have
Most
faith
of
in
the
him
time, famine.
on the field.
You'll
Come
starve
on
to
now.
death.
You want Dolphin fans to have faith in him on the actual field of play.
But look, man, they're
Come on,
building
man.
a culture over there.
Well, you
Cam.
can't
It
build
takes
a culture
time.
with a guy who couldn't make your fantasy football squad. Not that you're the
Cam,
best
they're building
fantasy
culture.
football
It
GM
takes
of all time. Don't get me
Let
wrong.
Coach Flores, get his hooks into everybody, man, and have everybody on the same page.
It's been 3 years. It's been 3 years. You just try to sell me on last year. Last year they won 10 games. They were supposed to be a factor in the AFC East because of what they did last year. Well, the house is collapsing. Okay,
they've gotten off to a slow start.
They built a house of cards last
their
year.
franchise quarterback has been injured.
It's been blown over like a hurricane. Like Hurricane Katrina or Hurricane Hugo that came through Miami and tearing everything down. This season has been like a hurricane. Okay, so there's no foundation, and that foundation that Flores tried to build.
But why is that Coach Flores' fault? He's come across some adversity.
What do you mean? Why is that Coach Flores? Who's making the decisions over there? Who's making the decisions over there? You would have it. Oh, the defensive coordinator from the New England Patriots, who's been there with 20 years on the hands and shoulders of Bill Belichick. He's going to make this
the greatest coach that's ever lived.
He is the greatest coach. He next to Jimmy Johnson, he's one of the greatest coaches that ever lived. But as soon as that resume come across my particular desk, if the owner would have called me and said, "Cam, what do you think about this guy who was a defensive coordinator of the New England Patriots?" If his first initial didn't start with a B and his last initial didn't start with a B,
the way that you've turned on Flores, you and Flores were like this.
No.
And now all of a sudden you just have no faith in him.
You're trying to spin it again.
He is the fruit of the Belichick tree, the greatest coach that's ever lived. Give him time. Have patience, Cam. It's not going to be this season they make the playoffs, but maybe next season. Maybe 2022.
Maybe next season. You see they try to slide fans. You see all this. I'm gonna ask Cleveland this one question, and I'm gonna leave it alone. How many of those Bill Belichick proteges have been successful in the NFL?
About as many as those Alabama running backs have been successful, or Alabama quarterbacks in the NFL.
So that's a low number.
That's
a low number. That's a low.
Dick, you hear him? Little Dick, you hear
him? That's a low number. That's a low. That's a low number right there. That's a low number right there. And so we're gonna move on. So yeah, these Dolphins have been extremely disappointing this season. If it wasn't for a fantastic play made by a quarterback who they didn't want to pay. If you remember correctly, in the offseason, they hesitated before they gave Xavier some extra dollars, and they didn't want to pay him. But in the first game of the year, if he doesn't make a miraculous play, they lose the game and cause a fumble while the Patriots are going in for the game-winning field goal. They lose that game. They'd be 0 for this year if he doesn't make that play. So, you got to give
Tua is on his way back, man. So
Tua is not the answer, bro. Tua is not the answer.
Tua is on his way back. Have faith.
I wish Watson was on the way. I wish Watson was on the way. And it's so funny. It's so funny how over the last 2 weeks you hear people saying, "Oh, they should go get Watson." Now, should they really consider getting Deshaun Watson? Now, Deshaun Watson's in Houston not really doing nothing. Why don't the Dolphins consider them? Cleveland, I've been saying this for fucking 18 months. 18 months I've been saying, go ahead and get this guy.
Cam, stay the course.
Oh man,
Tua is going to be back.
Okay. All
He's
right.
going to
All
be
right.
healthy,
All right.
and
I
we'll
want
see
to
what they
see.
can do.
I want to see how wise you are and how jovial you are about this next topic. Who lasts longer in Seattle? Is it Pete Carroll, or Russell Wilson?
Pete Carroll.
Oh, so you're admitting that Russell was out of there. So now you are finally admitting, you finally come to the conclusion that this might be Russell's Wilson's last season.
This may be Russell Wilson's last season.
Ooh, it's gonna be lit. We gonna have some dark days. Anybody remember when Mike Holmgren took over the Seattle Seahawks?
Hey Cam, I said might be. I'm not trying to go down your I know it's Halloween season and all, Cam, but I'm not trying to go down your deep hollowed corridor of just despair.
Anybody remember
might be.
Anybody remember Dan McGuire? Anybody remember Dan McGuire, Kelly Stauffer? Anybody remember?
Anybody remember Chad Henne and Chad Pennington?
It's okay. I tell you, my Dolphins have been stinking. Okay, somebody
quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks is somebody
is finally going to miss a game. Somebody's finally going to miss a game in 10 years. You don't know how that feels. So you can't really talk about quarterbacks. Somebody's finally going to miss a game, and he's going to get. You guys are going to get an opportunity to see what life is like without a.
Why are you so happy about that, Cam?
Quarterback.
Cam, why are you so happy about that?
It's not that I'm happy.
I'm just no. See, look, you can't even contain yourself. You're just
hey, misery.
You get to see what life is like without a franchise quarterback.
Misery loves company. Okay, if I'm miserable, I gotta see how miserable.
Say that then.
You guys see how miserable you guys are gonna be
because you have no. I've been rooting for the Dolphins all these years.
You don't forgot
franchise quarterback, and now I'm happy to see you without a franchise quarterback.
You guys don't forgot what life is. You guys don't forgot what life is like without a legitimate quarterback. You guys, you don't even remember those days.
No, we don't.
You don't remember those days.
No.
So you'll see it, and you'll get to appreciate Russell some more. You'll get to appreciate Russell because from the last year and a half, you've been saying, "Oh, it ain't Russell." You guys have been trying to hold Russell back and not let him cook. You guys ain't been trying.
Yeah, stay out of our business up here, Cam. Do your 305 thing.
Now he don't want us to talk about what's going on in Northwest. Now
stay out of business up here.
Hey, man, this weekend was crazy, though. It was crazy. A lot of field goals were missed, man. Mason Crosby missed 3 field goals. Chargers missed a couple field goals. Detroit Lions missed a field well, they kicked one to win, but then he missed a field goal in the game. A lot of field goals missed. But in that Green Bay game, Green Bay versus the Bengals kicker missed 2 field goals. And each of those would have won the game for him. There was a point where nobody had seen that nobody wanted to win that game. Would you have given the Mason Crosby another chance at missing a field goal after he missed 2 in the fourth quarter? Would you have given him a chance in overtime to kick a field goal to win the game?
No, Cam. Field goal kicking, I mean, as a psychology major at the University of Washington, has become such a fascinating thing.
We question that. I don't think he knows the address to University of Washington, folks, but okay.
Well, I most definitely do. Yeah, the diploma's right over there. Thanks so much for asking. But yeah, man. Jace, I will say this again. Justin Tucker is worth every goddamn penny, man. If you got somebody that can come out and kick a 66-yarder that hits off the top of the thing and goes in, whatever, man. That dude is down for the clutch kick. When you got somebody that's hit 25 in a row and then he misses 1, and he misses 2, and then he misses 3, that has to be psychological, right? It's no longer physical, right?
Well, I mean,
there's just no way. If you were that accurate before, why all of a sudden in this game right now would you not be able to do that? And then the dude on the other side, I mean, he looked like he was like the kicker from Nebraska, man.
Yeah, he was shook.
20-year-old and pimples all over your face, and everybody's looking at you like, "Oh man."
He was.
I hope I make this. It's like, no, man.
If you play for
that level where you're hoping anymore,
if he was kicking for anybody other than Bengals, he might be on the streets this
You
week.
be on the streets.
He might be on the street. So
And when cats start talking about why they missed the playoffs, and you missed it by one game, and you go back to that one game where that dude missed like 3 game winning kicks, it's like
yeah, that's it.
I asked my NFL or not my NFL, my college football brethren, like, man, would you have pulled a code red on that dude, man? I mean, it's like, wow,
Yeah, yeah,
we're not happy with the way this went down.
yeah. You have to let it be known, but we'll see what's going to happen. I like the way the Staley handled their situation where they had a guy miss 2 field goals, and Staley's like, well, we just need to coach him up.
Well, I mean, that's a whole other thing, Cam. I mean, you know how enamored I am of the Los Angeles Chargers.
Oh, here we go.
That's a whole other thing.
Here we go, fans. Watch this bandwagon.
Whether it be Austin Eckler or whether it be Keenan Allen or whether
all of a sudden he knows people on the Chargers now. I try to get him to talk about the Chargers. I try to get him to talk to the Chargers less 60 days ago. He didn't want to talk about
it. James, whether it be that pass rusher, Mr. Bosa,
listen to this guy.
Whether it be that tight end, Mr. Cook. I mean, that team is they're just locked in.
The epitome.
I think it starts from the top down, that leadership.
Here we go.
Coach Staley.
Here we go. Here we go. That leads us right into the next question. You're the one that tells me coaching doesn't matter. You're the one who tells me coaching has no it's all about the players.
Never said that, Cam. Never said that, Cam. Never said that.
You did
Never said that. What I always say is that it is not more important than the talent. Understand the difference. I didn't say it made no difference in how you played, but not as much difference as the talent.
This guy is so wishy-washy, fans. This guy is so wishy-washy.
As I'm reflecting on my Seahawks, I understand it just so vividly clear. It's the talent.
Oh, so no. You were the one telling me that you can take a college defensive end and make him a guard or make him a tight end. Because if you coach him up well, he's able to do stuff like that. You're the one you're the one telling me that. So now all of a sudden that's not quite accurate. Is that what you're saying?
Never said that.
You were totally okay. You were totally okay with your head coach making these moves, taking your center, taking a college nose tackle and making him your center, or taking a college nose tackle.
We'll see if they can work. If they work, great. If they don't, then they don't.
Oh, if they don't.
But that can't be like a philosophy that you just go with going forward. No.
So now in front of on October 13, 2021, now you want to tell me that coaching matters? Or are you saying about the talent?
Certainly, I've never said that coaching didn't matter. Yes, coaching matters. It's just not as important as talent. For example, Phil Jackson's never coached a team without Mike and Scotty or Shaq and Kobe or Kobe and Powell. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. And does that make him
therefore, I mean, is he going to take Bobby Hurley and JJ Redick to the NBA Finals? No. Because he doesn't have the talent to run the triangle.
So that's similar.
I'll give you. Here's a really, really good example. Now listen clear. Listen really good to this one. Football terms, right? Little old school, but listen to me now. Buddy Ryan in that 46 defense in Chicago, dominant. Took that same philosophy to Philly.
Was just as dominant.
They
didn't have a quarterback.
Took that same philosophy to Arizona. Yeah, not so much.
What?
See what I'm saying? Like, okay, Chicago, they were dominant with their linebackers. Philly, they were dominant with their
defensive line on the back end with Isaiah Jenkins and Eric Allen. You take that to Arizona, it's like, okay, well, it's just some guys running around wearing the 46. It's like not the same. So you understand that the philosophy can be replicated if you have the talent, but if you don't have the talent, the success can't be replicated. That is what my Seahawks are going through right now.
So let me tell you what to support that fluctuating argument that you have, because now it's fluctuating. Now it's a combination
your
of
system
talent.
is great when you have talent to run it, but if you don't have talent to run it, your system's not great. It's just a system.
So okay, so tell me,
it can't be
explain this to
if
me.
you don't have the
Explain this.
talent to do
So
it.
explain this to me. How one coach coaches up a team in your division actually to make them the number one defense in the league in one season. And you can only name one player from that defense. One player, you could only name one player from that defense that was the number one defense of the year. He leaves that team, goes to a different team, and all of a sudden, this team has a new energy, a new spirit, new life, aggressive position, because this new coach brought his aura and his confidence and breathed life into these guys.
I have no idea what scenario you're referring to, man.
I'm talking about how Brandon Staley leaves the Rams as a defensive coordinator, comes to the Chargers, and this whole Charger team is a new team. Essentially the same players, the same stars that was on the Chargers this year, the same stars that's been on the same Chargers that was on the team last year.
Cam, they're healthy. They're healthy.
What do you mean? What do you mean they're healthy? Bosa played last year.
Derwin James is healthy. Keenan Allen's healthy. Austin Eckler's healthy. Justin Herbert has a little bit more experience.
James is the only one who didn't play last year. I mean, that's
okay, but those other guys weren't healthy.
What do you mean they weren't healthy? Austin Eckler, was in his fourth year. He was healthy for most of the season. Keenan played every game except the last two. Bosa played. What do you mean? Don't just blame it on health. There's a difference that the coach creates an environment. The coach Staley has created an environment, and these guys are all buying in.
Players are balling
because of the system in the foundation that he's created. That's why
players are balling.
The players are balling. This Charger team is
It's not coaching this time, Cam. Players are balling.
Why do you think they're balling? Do you think they're balling just because they're not getting no direction, no leadership? Do you think that there's no direction going on?
Because they're mashing. It's time to ball, man. Players are balling.
Oh boy, yeah, okay. So you don't know what the inspirational piece of basketball is or football is. You don't know that the setting the tone, setting the environment when it's fourth. I don't know if you watched the game the other day against the Browns and the
I did watch that game.
Chargers.
Yeah,
the Browns were up coming out of the third quarter, coming out of the locker room. The Browns were up by 13 points. The Chargers have the ball inside their own 25, 4th and 2. Staley says, "Let's go for it." Do you know what that does to your team? Do you know what that does to the offense, that they leave the quarterback on the field, they leave the running back on the field? Do you know what that does to the offensive line? This says, "Oh, this guy thinks we can do it. He thinks we can do it. We can do it. Let's go do it." Boom. They get the first down. Later on in that same drive, it's 4th and 7. They do it again in the same drive. So not only were the Browns, just like on Monday night when Lamar Jackson fumbled and the coach thought they were going in for the go-ahead score to go up by 3 scores. No. Let's back it up. Bring it back. Let's bring it back. You're going to have to actually do this. Now, the Browns are like, oh, shit, we were up 14. If we stopped them, we get the ball back and go up by 21. They don't stop them. The Chargers go down and score. Now it's a 7-point game. Now the pressure's back on the Browns and Baker Mayfield. and Nick Chubbs and Kareem Hunt. The Chargers get another stop. Lo and behold, they get the ball back and go tie the game up. All because of what happens there. What happens there on 4th and 2 when the coach shows some confidence, shows some life, shows some spirit.
Right.
That's leadership. That's what's not going on down in South Florida, by the way. But
Can
that's leadership.
May I interject real quick?
What's up?
So if Brandon Staley was the coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Detroit Lions, they would have lost that game.
You know what?
And how come, Cam? Because they wouldn't have enough talent to pull off all of that shit you were just talking.
Well, they certainly have the talent to do it because I don't know if you've seen the number 10 back there who's wearing the Bolts uniform.
Oh, I do. Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you saw that. I don't know if you saw that kid from Oregon. I don't know if you saw that kid from Oregon.
You want to put it all on Brandon Staley and his philosophy and the energy and the enthusiasm that he brings in, to every work day. Nah, man. That's not what wins games.
I'm telling you that matters is what you're
I
trying to
have
ignore.
experienced this in the 206 personally, man. That's not what wins games.
Let's talk a little bit more about that. Let's talk a little bit about that. What the rah-rah, the competition Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, passing out the teddy bears to the most competitive guy. Oh, that shit's not working no more?
The talent level is not there. So your ability to implement your scheme is not the same. And when the league evolves past you and you don't have the talent to invoke your scheme to any type of success, this is what you get.
All right, man. So are the Cardinals? You had, if I remember correctly, let me check. Let me look at where you had the Cardinals finishing this season. Did you have the Cardinals? I know I didn't have them in the playoff. I had them last in your division. Where did you have the Cardinals finishing?
Pretty sure I had them last. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. They're not in your playoff hunt. I'm looking at it now. You did not have them in your playoff hunt. And lo and behold, the Cardinals right now have the best record in the NFL. How sustainable is this?
Depends on the health of Kyler Murray.
Yeah, well, he's not getting hit. He's doing a lot of running around. That kind of scares me that he's doing. It looks like he's going to pull a hammy every time because the kid is running so hard to stay out of harm's way. So it's kind of wild. But we're going to see. We're going to see how long he can how long he can stay healthy. Because do they have a good? Who do they play this week? Is it a tough game? I mean, they got a soft schedule because nobody projected anything from them. They were able to beat up on the Cardinals or the 49ers last week. Who do they got this week? The Cardinals play the Browns.
Tough game.
Yeah, it is.
But
tough
they
game.
win it. They win it.
I got them winning as well. So looking back at last week, we had the Ravens come back on the Colts when the Colts looked like it was a short victory. Did the Ravens surprise you? Were you surprised by the way Ravens came back in the game that Lamar Jackson had? Were you surprised by that?
Absolutely, I was surprised by that. Like you're saying, the Colts had it dead to rights. Jonathan Taylor was doing his thing, Pittman doing his thing, but the Ravens found a way to win.
I actually hate doing this, and I hate admitting this even more. I went to sleep on that game. I rolled over. It's like the coach is actually okay. The coach actually got some confidence after smacking the Dolphins around. They're actually playing like they're actually somebody. And I went to sleep on that game. And I didn't see how Lamar Jackson finished the game. I had to go back and watch it, obviously. But I was for the Ravens having injuries and a no-name defense, as you want to admonish me about earlier in the year. They're playing some good football. What you say?
Man, come on. All their games are kind of flukish, right? You kind of see that, right? That's not sustainable, bro. Starting it later, again, the tape. Cam, it's the tape. It's been 5 weeks now. The tape will catch up with you. If you can't do certain things, the tape will catch up with you.
So all of a sudden Tucker's field goal doesn't count. His 68-yarder.
66-yard field goal off the crossbar. I don't know if you're going to see that again. I'm pretty sure you got one of those in a season.
Okay, so they come back and coach. So you have this being Fugazi their season.
Some of their wins have been a little flukish, to say the least, Cam.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what the test is, because oddly enough, those aforementioned Los Angeles Chargers are heading to M&T Bank Stadium.
Mm-hmm. Getting 3. How you feel about it?
Oh, I'll take 3 all day with Brandon Staley and.
There's no talk. Don't talk about that.
I'll take that all day.
Don't believe in them.
I'll take 3 all day, every day.
I will take.
You giving Brandon Staley and Justin Herbert
to give you the C note, because the Chargers are going to win 11 games, and they're going to beat the snot piss out of the Baltimore Ravens.
Hey man, that was a great game against the Browns. That was a really good game. The Browns, it was just back and forth. The Browns put up a lot of points. Man, Nick Chubb, watching him in person is impressive. Nick Chubb, Kareem, his offensive lineman said it best, where Kareem Hunt runs with a fury and a rage that is uncontainable, and you see that when he plays. And Nick Chubb, man, just is consistent, hard run, a big guy, 5'10", like 220, big strong guy, and he's a smooth runner. Myles Garrett had to correct me, because I said he wasn't explosive. He says, "Oh no, he's explosive. He's just so smooth that you don't really notice it." It's like when you step on that Cadillac, you step on the gas of that Cadillac, it doesn't snap your head back.
Right.
It doesn't snap your head back, but you know that you're up at 0 to 60 in seconds right there. And he's just so smooth, man. He's powerful. He breaks tackles. That's one thing about him, is he breaks a lot of tackles, and as does Kareem Hunt. That has to be the best backfield. I thought that before, but seeing it in person, that backfield is the best backfield tandem in all of football.
Man, I don't know, man. That A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones backfield is pretty good too.
Here you go. Nah, bro.
I mean, as hard as A.J. Dillon runs, I mean, that's a pretty good backfield.
I mean, you got to be joking. You got to be joking, because these Browns is tough. Those Browns is tough.
I'm joking, man. Yeah, that Browns.
Yeah. I mean, they got a solid defense. Myles Garrett has a nonstop attitude, and so let's give Rashawn Slater some airtime, bro. When Rashawn Slater says he has to tell his running backs and the tight end, "Look, I got Myles Garrett to myself. That's my guy. I don't need no chip. I don't need you to come over and help. That's my guy. I got him." And when he's able to lock him up and limit him to 1 tackle, 1 sack all game long, bro, that's putting in work. He's able to move they were able to run the ball effectively. I think they had over 100 yards rushing combined in all total. And then you see Herbert's able to make some big plays. Herbert throws another game. He throws for over 300 yards. Justin Herbert, he 4 TDs, another game with 300 yards. Justin Herbert, Cleveland, I don't know if you this deep in the numbers. Justin Herbert, in his last game, passed Patrick Mahomes and one other guy for the most 300-yard passing games in his first 2 years of his career. You know who that other guy was?
That would be Golden Arm Dan Marino, Cam.
That tells you right there what kind of season this kid is having, what kind of a career he's up, what kind of start to the career he's having right there. He just eclipsed Dan Marino and Patrick Mahomes, right? All as we know, Patrick Mahomes sat most of his his rookie year and did this all of his, just came out in a world of fire his second year in the league. But that tells you, it should explain to you what kind of season that Justin Herbert is having. When he's eclipsing Patrick Mahomes and then Danny Dan, like that should explain it. There should be no more questions about what this kid's potential. So the Chargers had got a good win over the Browns. The Bills smacked around the Chiefs. Like, should we now be? I'm hesitant to give this Bills credit, man. I've been slow coming.
Why, man?
I've been slow coming.
They lost their first game to Pittsburgh, kind of like surprisingly, and they just been bitch slapping everybody ever since, man. 2 shutouts, and then they throttled the Kansas City Chiefs, man.
Like the Chiefs, the Chiefs were looking like Deontay Wilder at the end of that fight with with Fury over the weekend, just hanging by a thread. It was all over before the game was over. Before the whistle blew to end the game was way over. It was over a long time ago. These Bills, man, can Josh Allen keep jumping over defenders, man? Can he keep rolling out and running over cornerbacks? Can he keep this up for another season? Can he do this all year? We're gonna see, man. Stephon Diggs, we know he got a couple tough receivers there. They got a tough running back. I'm just not able to. I'm just reluctant to turn the page on this one quite yet. I need to more convincing. But
they need more convincing than shutting out 2 NFL teams in a span of 3 weeks.
I mean, one of those teams was the Dolphins, so one of those teams. One of the teams.
I said 2 NFL teams.
Oh, look at him now! Now he's clowning. I just need to see more. I need to see more. I can't go on.
What more do you need to see, Cam?
I need to. I'm not jumping on my back on it.
They punched Patrick Mahomes in his face, kicked him out the club. 2 shutouts. The only loss they have is to Pittsburgh, the first game of the year.
Pretty impressive so far.
What more do you need to see?
First
it can't be style points because they've already shut out 2 teams. And it can't be impressive victories because they already beat the Super Bowl runner-up from last season. So what more is it that you're looking for? I'm just asking. Asking for a friend, asking for our fans. What more do you need to see?
Is it sustainable? That's what I need to know. Is it sustainable?
So what have you seen that you think is not sustainable about the way they go about their business?
I haven't put a keen eye on them, so to be honest with you,
so you don't really have any reason for.
I don't have any
at present. Just a gut feeling.
I need to see more.
Let's move on to the next topic. Thanks so much for clarifying that you don't really have a reason for not really.
I need to see more.
Plain and simple. They're not the number 1 team.
Plain and simple. I need to see more.
Yeah, and you can't explain what more you need to see. So.
I mean, I need to see some consistency. I need to see some consistency. You're 4-1 right now.
Consistency, 4 straight games, 2 shutouts, almost 4 games, and you beat the Kansas City Chiefs.
We're moving on. We're moving right along now.
It's moving right along.
The Lions, another heartbreaking loss.
Heartbreaking.
What do you think of Dan Campbell, man? They went for 2. They scored a touchdown. They're down. They were down 6 points. They scored a touchdown. They go up by 2, so they needed a field goal to win the game. And Thielen, who hasn't caught a pass all day long, gets open, catch 2 in a span of 40 seconds, catch 2 20-yarders, put them in field goal range, and they kick a field goal to win the game. Dan Campbell, up there crying on the podium, like. That's something. Not only is that something we don't see very often where coaches are crying, but he's one of the coaches you would not expect to be crying if you thought any coach would cry. It's the same. This is the guy who's talking about biting off kneecaps. So,
Cam, I mean, 3 of their 5 losses was their first game in San Francisco. Oh my God, what a heartbreaking loss. Then they're on the receiving end of the 66-yard field goal that doinks the crossbar. Then they got enough heart to go for two and go for the win and get the two, and then come back. And the dude that missed the field goal 2 weeks ago, it's a 55-yarder.
to
You're
to
gonna
beat
cry,
you
man.
guys.
You're gonna cry.
You
What more
gotta
can
let
you
it.
do?
You
How much
gotta let
harder
it
can you
out.
ask your team to work and believe in you? Those three losses in and of themselves are so improbable. And you have
Oh
three in
my
your first 5 games. You'll cry.
man.
If you're a human being, you'll cry, Cam. That hurts.
Yeah, man. So I wonder. I would keep a keen eye on the Lions. Do they gain more inspiration with that by
No,
the
they're
Bosa
tired of all
show?
the inspiration, man. They
I mean,
give all they can and they come up with just improbable things that happen to them.
so they're going to lose 11 more games. I mean,
Quite
or
possibly,
do we
man.
see this? Do we
You
see
can't
them?
just keep you can't keep picking people up off the ground after these kind
Well,
of
this is
losses.
what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Do we see? Do they lose 11 more games, or do they finally say, okay, enough is enough, and they turn around and blow somebody out?
No, they lose 11 more games, man.
Oh shit! There again, no love for the coaching, no love for the.
It's not. How's that not left for the coaching? It's because you've been disappointed in so many dramatic different ways. You don't believe you're gonna win.
That's funny. So we'll see. We have to keep a keen eye on the Lions. The Seahawks Thursday night. I mean, that was a beatdown. That was it wasn't worse than my Dolphins getting routed by the Bucks, but that was a beatdown by your division rival of all teams. Like you should kind of have an anticipation of what's coming. You should kind of have an anticipation of how to slow these guys down, an idea of what works for you. Nothing worked for you. You couldn't slow them down. Um, your boy or Robert Woods go on a history goes into history books for catching 12 passes for 166 on you guys or something like that. Like it can't be just a quarterback going down because Geno Smith came in there and marched him right down the field. So it can't be just a quarterback. Like there's some other issues on that team. Um, are they not? Is Adams not a is he not a game breaker? Is he not a team guy? Um, are the players bickering? What's going on this team? What's going on his defense? What's going on in the locker room? Do they miss Shaquem Griffin? Talk to me. Talk to the people. What's going on with your Seahawks?
Sure thing, Cam. As the voice of the 206 and always in a Seahawks centric state of mind, yeah, this team is probably not going to make the playoffs. It's not because of Jamal Adams. They play him out of position quite often, as Jim Trotter, that came on our show, alluded to. Um, they just put him in positions to fail. Covering Deshaun Jackson out of slant, it's not a good idea. No, it's not because they lost Shaquille Griffin. That's not the reason that they're losing games. For me, it's just I am finally starting to see the writing on the wall, and that is they are trying to replicate a recipe for success that was only successful because of the players within the system. The system will not replicate success without the players.
So unless you drive Cam Chancellor, there's no happenings. Is that what you're telling me?
So if you're trying to replicate a situation wherein the corner that plays on the left side shuts down an entire half of the field, so much so that Aaron Rodgers won't even throw to that side of the field. If you have a free safety that can gobble up any mistake that the defense makes, if you have a strong safety that hits like a brick and makes people uncomfortable about coming across the middle. If you have a middle linebacker that can make 150 tackles, pass rush that generates 15 to 20 sacks, that's not replicatable. So that in and of itself, the plug and play simply does not work in the same way.
So, do I hear the Seahawks are in trouble? Is that your soliloquy in short is saying the Seahawks are in trouble? Is that what I heard?
My soliloquy of chaos in short is yes, they're in trouble.
Okay, that's fair enough. Well, my Dolphins stink. They get routed by the Buccaneers, and here's why I tell you it's a coaching issue down here. The Super Bowl champions, you go to their house and play against the Super Bowl champions. But this team this team won the Super Bowl last year. But the difference about this team is they're led by the quarterback who not only the head coach was on the same team with for 15 plus years, but who's been in the same division as his team for the last 30 years. There's familiarity with what this quarterback does, right? You have a clue of how this quarterback is going to attack you. He's not going to go deep. He's not going to hit you on a bunch of deep fly patterns, right? Because that's not what he does. He's going to go underneath, and he's going to hit you with some 15 to 20-yard passes, and he's going to give you some nice his receivers. His best receiver is quicker than fast, so he's going to come underneath most often and looking for the catch and run. And you can't defend any of this. You can't defend the deep end routes, the deep middle of the field. You can't defend the underneath of the field. You can't get to the quarterback, who we all know. You and I know. You put some pressure on as with any quarterback. You put some pressure on him, especially up the middle. You make him move a little bit. He's not as accurate. These guys gave him everything they wanted, every single thing they wanted. And because they can't run the ball, because their line is shaky, they don't have any game-breaking running backs, so they can't run the ball. There's no threat on the only deep threat they have. They send him. He averages 6.9 yards a catch, which is the lowest in NFL history. The fastest guy they have on the team averages 6.6 yards a catch. How ridiculous is that? That's terrible coaching. If your best receiver is running 4 or 5 yard routes, and in his rookie season, 5 games in, averages 6.9 yards a carry, which is the lowest in history. There's so many things wrong with this team, Cleveland. There's so many things. The defensive scheme, he's supposed to be the defensive guru. Well, hell, you was in the locker room. You was in the meeting rooms with this quarterback, I'm sure. You can't devise a scheme to stop this guy? I need to figure out, and this is something I need to do for my own edification. Who's actually making the personnel decision? Because I was made to believe that it's a collaborative effort between Chris Greer, who's been on the personnel side of things before he was named the GM last 3 years ago. He's been on the personnel side of things and actually making some decent calls. That was my understanding. And so he was to partner with Brian Flores to make certain calls, certain decisions on the talent of players. Well, as we already know, as I said umpteen times, it's been already documented. Well, they blew 6 of their excuse me.
Man, are you gonna get back to how many picks they done blow, man?
They blown it.
Come.
That's
come
the
to
talent.
present
That's the
time,
talent. That's the talent you're talking about.
It's
Cleveland.
October the 13th,
Oh, boy.
2021.
That's
We're
the
going
talent
into
that
week
you
6.
talk about.
I don't want
That's
to
the
hear about
talent.
your picks. I don't want to
Cleveland.
hear about your foundation. No, man. What are you
Cleveland.
gonna do from here?
That's the talent
What's
that
up,
you
man?
talked about.
No,
That what do you mean? No,
I'm so
you go
tired.
out. You got.
I'm
You
so
have to go out
tired
and
of
get
hearing
that
about
talent.
these picks. They blew.
Yeah,
No, man.
it's
You're,
atrocious, isn't it?
you're 1-5 right now.
It's atrocious, right? It's
It's
atrocious, right?
October the 13th, 2021, man. What do
Yeah.
you do from here?
You if they don't make the phone call to
You're gonna be
Houston,
patient.
no
You're
hell
gonna stay
no.
the course.
If you
You're gonna
don't make the
wait for
phone,
Tua to come back
oh
and
my
bring
goodness.
some of that magic that he had with Waddle at Alabama to Miami. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna let Miles Gaskin keep running the ball,
You see,
play
you're trying to
solid
be funny.
defense.
You're trying to be funny because you already know that they should have drafted a running back. And over the last 2 years, they didn't.
Man, Cam, come on, man. You keep bringing up old stuff, man. Come on, man. Stay in the present.
Yeah, go get Deshaun Watson. Go get Deshaun Watson right now while the whole NFL is
They're
on.
waiting for their franchise quarterback to get healthy as well. You should too.
No, he's not getting healthy.
Tua's going to be healthy in a couple of weeks, and we'll see what they can do.
We already know what he can do. Cleveland, you gotta stop it, man. You can cut this out, man. You cut that out. That's all you're doing. You're trying to stir up the pot, man. That's all you're trying to do right now.
I'm just saying how it is.
You're trying to stir up the pot. So let's look back, Cleveland. Let's look back at our picks from last week, man.
Okay.
Once again, Dolphins get pulverized by the Bucks. So I called it too. I'm gonna go down the games that we had wrong. I had Denver over Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh ended up beating the Broncos. So a point for you. That was the only game that we actually had different. We had all the games. We had KC. Well, we had KC beating the Buffalo Bills. They lost, obviously. We had the Raiders beating the Bears. They lost, obviously. And we both had Carolina beating the Eagles, and they lost. So those are the picks that we had wrong. Picks against the spread. I had Tampa Bay, Denver, and Tennessee winning. So I won 2 of those games. You had Pittsburgh, KC, and New Orleans winning. The picks against the spread. You won 2 of those games. Yeah, so picks against the spread combined with our picks for the week, you're up 15-14. Don't get too happy. Our confidence picks. I had Green Bay, Tennessee, Baltimore, Dallas, and Tampa Bay. You had Carolina, the Chargers, New England, Tampa Bay, and Tennessee. So I think you already know that you lost that category. So for
Carolina
the week,
did me in. Carolina
for
did me
so for the week, you're 93%. 93% is not bad, Cleveland. For the week, you're at 93%. You got 14 to 15 points. That's not bad. That's really not bad. Good work out of you. I, however, was perfect. 15 for 15, 100%. Which goes right along with what the season has been for me. Not so much you, but for the season, my confidence picks are 70 out of 75 for 93% for the season. With Cleveland, you're more like 59 for 75 for 78% of the season. Yeah, that's good enough for number 2, obviously, in a 2-man race. Let's take a break here, Cleveland. When we come back, man, we're going to talk about some NBA topics. I want to know what, if you have a teammate who's unable to come into the locker room and play and practice with you guys, is he really a teammate? I want you to answer that question when we come back, man. Let's take a little break right here, and I will get with you. You need 90?
No, I'm good.
Give me a minute. Let me fix this up. Where my notes at? My notes ain't coming up like I want to. There we go. All right, fans, give me 2 more minutes, and we'll have this set up. So, you watching BMF, I should say BFF. You watching BMF?
I am not. Are you watching it?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Obviously, it's for TV, so there's a lot of exaggeration in there, but for the most part, it's pretty cool. Okay, so another show I've been watching, man, is impeachment. When they talk about how they got Clinton out of there. Have you seen the highlights or preview for that one?
No.
Yeah, him and Monica Lewinsky. How that shit all went down. That's kind of wild. Well, it's kind of wild, but if you just like the drama, that's what makes that one good. All right, fans. Thank you guys for tuning in to another great week of the Voice of the Fans podcast. We appreciate you. We're gonna make up some time because we have some NBA topics that was left on the board last week. When we cut the show short. As always, like I said, we're gonna review our top 75 here in a few moments. But let's start with this. The story of the NBA right now is players not getting vaccinated. Kyrie, the Brooklyn Nets now say that Kyrie Irving will not be allowed to play or practice with the Nets until he gets vaccinated. How soon before Kyrie gets vaccinated, in your opinion?
2 months.
So he's going to sit out until January?
October and November, he will get vaccinated in December.
He'll get vaccinated, so he'll be there for Christmas, is what you're saying. He'll be available for play in December. 2 months because he'll be tired of losing money, or not that he's broke. Oh no, that's not the one.
Well, yes, Cam will be tired of losing money, and he'll be tired of not being a part of the National Basketball Association and the way that his teammates are affected in their record and understanding what he brings to the table.
And since you're a talent before coaches guy, do you think his team's going to welcome him back without any issues?
No, there will be issues, especially if he doesn't do the right thing and get vaccinated and play the season. I mean, if he really actually carries this out through October and November, yeah, there's going to be some animosity, certainly from people that have sacrificed their careers to kind of align themselves with him to, win a championship. So, yeah, no, it won't be a seamless transition with regards to him coming back to the team and what they'll be able to accomplish. No.
Okay. Something else that happened this week was I too agree with you. Except, peer pressure. I like to think that peer pressure is going to accelerate this timeline for Kyrie, and that he'll get vaccinated in more than 2 months of play. But that's my thoughts, and that's why I like to get your opinion, because obviously we don't agree on everything, and half the times you're wrong. I get it, but I still like to hear your opinions. Apparently I'm wrong about this. I do agree that Paul Gasol, since he announced his retirement 5 years from when he announced his retirement, just like 2 months ago. So in 5 years, Paul Gasol will walk gracefully into the NBA Hall of Fame. I agree with that without question. He is a Hall of Famer. However, the question swirling around LA is, does Pau Gasol get his jersey hung in Staples Center? And I said, at first, my immediate thought was no. After I thought about it for a minute and I think of whose jersey's up there, I still walked away saying no. But there's writers and reporters who are convinced that Pau Gasol's jersey will be hanging up in Staples Center next to the likes of Shaq, Wilt Chamberlain, James Worthy. What you shaking your head? No, but that's what some of these guys are thinking. Are they being homers, Cleavon, or does Pau get his jersey hung in Staples Center?
Pau Gasol does not get his jersey hung up in Staples Center.
Pau Gasol, however you want to put it, he was 1A or 1B for their back-to-back championships 2009 and 10. Right? That's not worthy enough?
No.
I agree with you. But I just found that weird. That just kind of blew me away. I was like, one of the guys told me exactly. He said, if you don't believe Powell gets his jersey hung, you don't know basketball. I was like, well, you got to coach me up then, dude. Because I don't know basketball. I don't know basketball. If that's what you're trying to that's what you're trying to tell me. I clearly don't know enough hoops. So that was interesting. Does Powell get his jersey hung up? So any major takeaways from preseason? Tonight we saw Dallas go to Charlotte, and then Charlotte gets 120 points hung up on them, while they scored like 75. A complete total waxing, by the way.
No takeaways other than no one got injured, and that's a good thing.
No
major injuries came out of training camp. Great.
Okay. All right. So before we reveal our top 75 list, we're gonna go through this list of GMs and their favorites and their picks for this 2021-2022 season. GM's favorite pick to win MVP. They rank them. I have 5 names here, with all have a rating next to them. How many of these 5 players can you name?
I can name all 5.
Okay, who you got?
I have Kevin Durant. Is he on the list?
Yep.
I have Joel Embiid. Is he on the list?
Joel Embiid is not on the list. Joel is on the list. He's number 4 on the list. Yes.
Okay. Cool. So I got 2 of the 5 so far.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Joker on that list?
Joker is not on this list.
Okay, well, at least don't mean nothing
then. Yeah, that's funny. This list has a couple names that you might be familiar with. And I asked you a question in the summertime about this year's MVP. Do you remember what I said about?
Yes, you said that the MVP would be foreign born, and I said that the MVP would come from the United States.
So three of these names I'm about to recite off are foreign-born players. Only 2 are from the United States, but the second guy doesn't have. Let me just say, 2 of these guys are American-born. 3 of these guys are foreign-born. Number 1 is Kevin Durant. Number 2 is Luka Doncic. Number 3 is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Number 4 is Joel Embiid. Number 5 is James Harden. So James Harden and Kevin Durant are the 2 American players with the biggest percentages and the biggest chance of winning NBA MVP. Agree with this list or no?
Again, Joker's not on it, so that's a little bit hard to deal with. I may have given a little bit more credence to Steph, perhaps winning it, depending on what they do. So.
Okay. GM's pick to start a franchise. Do you have some thoughts on who that list would be?
Number 1 would be Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant is number 3. He's tied for 3rd on this list, actually.
Oh, well, maybe they were going with a youth movement and went with Luka at number 1.
Luka number 1, Giannis number 2, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, some guy named L. James, Luca, Jokic, the Joker, and Zion Williamson even got his name on there. The GM's favorite to have a breakout season. I'm not sure I agree with this list, but one of these guys just got paid. Who do you think was on this list?
Breakout season, Michael Porter Jr.
Michael Porter Jr. is third on this list.
Breakout season. Ice Trae Young?
No. Can he have a breakout season? No, it wasn't. The guys on this list to have a breakout season was Jaren Jackson Jr.,
No.
Anthony Edwards, or Michael Porter Jr. Who's more likely out of that three?
So we're missing one person, right?
Who? Trey?
No, you said Edwards, Michael Porter Jr., Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah. Yep. No. Excuse me. Here's a complete list right here. Garland from Cleveland.
No.
Cam Johnson of
that's the breakout list?
Yeah.
No.
Breakout season, Ja Morant, Cam Johnson and Ja Morant. Yes. You disagree?
Yeah, man. Ja's had his chances to break out, man. He's already broke out. That's what he do. He's broken out.
Who?
Ja Morant?
Yeah, that's kind of right, but it's on this list. So, who's the GM for GM's pick for the biggest impact, biggest free agent impact? And this is a short list here. You want to guess?
Biggest free agent impact? No. Who you got? Because Russell Westbrook was a trade, so that's not a free agency thing. Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry is biggest impact. Yes. Kyle Lowry 77%. Russell Westbrook is 17%. GM's pick for most underrated acquisition.
That would be. He went to DeMar DeRozan.
No. No. Most underrated impact is Larry Nance Jr., Patty Mills, Spencer Dinwiddie, LaMelo Ball, and Kemba Walker.
So where did Larry Nance Jr. go?
I'm not even sure. I want to say Portland.
Portland? Oh, yeah. I don't know if he's
say.
going to make that much of a difference in PO to their overall standings, but okay.
Who did he get traded to? Larry Nance Jr. Yeah, I want to say Portland. But let me confirm. Okay, he is in the Ohio. We all know he got drafted and shafted by the Lakers. That's what we all do know. He was in Cleveland last year. It doesn't say where he is this year.
Well, it don't matter. Well, then,
Powerful.
Therefore, no. I can't really call him one of those big impactful players.
Not sure where he ended up. We'll have to do some research and get back to you on that one, fans. Yeah, but that's a questionable signing, and is it going to be the biggest impact? I don't think so. GM pick for Rookie of the Year: Jalen Green, Cade Cunningham, or Suggs?
The GM's pick Suggs.
Suggs was third on the list. Jalen Green was the number one. Caleb Cunningham. So now, Cleveland, it's time for us to reveal our top 75. Should we go from the top or we go from the bottom to the top? How you want to do this?
We'll go from the 50 that people already know, and then we'll reveal what we added to that list.
Okay, so the 50, I'll give them the 40 and then add and then go with the 10 that we added. How about that?
Let's do that.
So Kareem, Nate Archibald, Charles Barkley, Rick Barry, Elgin Baylor, Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, Bob Cousy, Clyde Drexler, Julius the Dr. Irving, Patrick Ewing, Walt Clyde Frazier, George the Iceman Gerving. John Havlicek, Elvin Hayes, Magic Johnson, Sam Jones, Michael Jordan, Jerry Lucas, Karl Malone, Moses Malone, Pistol Pete Maravich, Kevin McHale, George Mikan, Earl Monroe, Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, Shaquille O'Neal, Robert Parrish, Tim Duncan. Excuse me, let me say not Tim Duncan, discount that one. Scottie Pippen, Willis Reed, Oscar Robertson, David Robinson, Bill Russell, John Stockton, Isaiah Thomas, Wes Unseld, Bill Walton, Jerry West, Lenny Wilkins, James Worthy. So that was the original 50. But it was 40 because we took 10 off to make room for these guys who needed to be on that original 50. We added Kobe Bryant, Stephen Curry, Kevin Garnett, LeBron James, Dirk Nowitzki. We added Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, Kevin Durant, Steve Nash, and Dwayne Wade. That's 10 that we added to give us 50. And then from a framework, we wanted to then identify, okay, after 50, who was the best players that was not added to this list? We agreed on Ray Allen, Kawhi Leonard, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Gary Payton, Allen Iverson, and Reggie Miller. At this point, Cleveland, have you heard any errors or omissions?
No errors or omissions at this point, Cam.
Reggie Miller, Carmelo Anthony, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Jason Kidd, Kyrie Irving, Joe Dumars, Manu Ginobili, Klay Thompson, Paul Pierce, Dominique Wilkins, Chris Bosh, Dwight Howard, Dennis Rodman, Chris Webber, Bob McAdoo, Chris Mullin, Dennis Johnson, Ben Wallace, and Anthony Davis. That is our top 75 in no order. Top 75 player for as the league introduces their year 75 anniversary this season, next week actually. That is the Voice of the Fans top 75 list. Cleveland, any errors or omissions on this list?
We'll roll with that one, Cam. It's been scrubbed and so comprehensively gone through that I feel confident with the final product.
There you go, as do I. So fans, let's take a quick break. When we come back, before I let you go, before we end the segment, we want to get an NBA Finals prediction on the record from Mr. Cleavon Steele, young Sam Rothstein. We want to get this on record because I have my down fans. I'll let you know right now. I don't have no reservations. I told you, with or without Kyrie Irving, the Nets can make the NBA Finals. So I have them playing the Denver Nuggets. So I have the Brooklyn Nets versus the Denver Nuggets for the 2022 NBA Championship. Cleveland, what say you?
Lakers, Brooklyn.
He going chalk, huh? Okay, fans, let's take a little break here. Right here, I got it locked in. This guy says Cleveland Lakers versus the Nets or NBA Finals, and looks like we agree on one team making the finals, just not that second team making the finals. So, fans, when we come back, we're going to do This Week in History. We got some random topics that we're going to talk about, and then we're going to get into our predictions for Week 6 in the NFL. So, hold tight, fans. All right, you good?
Let's keep it rolling.
All right. All right, fans. Thank you guys for sticking with us. The Voice of the Fans podcast. This is your man Cam. Want to go through which we do each and every week. We give some kind of a history lesson. So we want to look back at some history. This Week in History, we call it. In October 11, 1834, Harry Blair received a patent for his corn planting machine. Corn planting. Who would have thought that had been a profession, right? October 14, 1964. What happened on that day?
October 14th, 1964. Enlighten me, Cam.
Martin Luther King Jr. became the youngest man to win the Nobel Peace Prize.
Observed.
October 17th doesn't give me a year, but it was before most of these other events. So, first bank for black was organized. Capital Savings of Washington D.C. So it doesn't give me a date, but I'd imagine the early 70s, mid 70s. Cleveland. We go. I got one more. I'm sorry. I got one more. 10/13/1998, the NBA did what?
Locked out their players.
Good call. For the first time in 51-year history, there was a work stoppage due to the NBA locking their players out. That's exactly right. Cleveland, as we know, there's history down there in the 305. Each year, fans of the 305, players of the 305, take to pouring their favorite glasses champagne out. Well, pouring it for themselves, but then taking a moment to celebrate what they did in history by pouring out a little liquor, because nobody has been able to break their record of 17 wins, 0 losses. How long before the 72 Dolphins get to pop that bottle this season?
Week 9.
So you got the Cardinals going 8-0?
I'm just throwing that out there. No longer than 9, I don't think.
Okay. All right. What's your thoughts on Fury Wilder 3?
Oh man, it's unfortunate that the big heavy suit of armor that Deontay Wilder carried into the ring in the second fight wasn't the reason they lost the fight. It's unfortunate. Kind of the one-trick pony, not able to get that one trick out enough.
Wow. I think the fight went about as I anticipated. I didn't have Wilder winning that fight. I didn't think he was going to be able to kind of maximize his boxing skills, all that he trained, in a quick turnaround. And I thought that would be the deciding factor. And that's exactly how Fury ended up winning that fight. Also, I'd like to know your thoughts on the Seattle Kraken kicked off their first, dropped the puck in their first game last night, albeit in the loss against the Las Vegas Aces, is it?
Knights.
Las Vegas Golden Knights, exactly right. Did you watch that game? What do you think about it? Did they get the job call when the guy he didn't kick the puck, but he gave it the angle, which a lot of time, and he's able to do that while being engaged with this other player was pretty sweet, man. What you think about that play? What do you think about the Kraken and how they played last night?
Glad that they had their inaugural franchise debut. Unfortunately, they didn't win. Um, Looking forward to seeing the Kraken have an opportunity to kind of, galvanize the community and kind of see what they can do, but not quite on the radar just yet. Um, I am most
Really?
curious. I am most curious to see their first home game and how the whole traffic thing works out. I am just
Okay.
could not be more curious as to how that really goes. Um, Almost more than the wins and losses. Like, how do people get to and from the game?
Okay, that'll be interesting. What about how the jersey sales up there? How jersey sales, hat
Oh,
sales?
they're going fantastic. I mean, you've seen the logo. It's super fresh, man. I mean, the Kraken. I mean, the color scheme, the color combo, and just the logo. Yeah, it's popular around here.
So what goes on in their practice arena? Do they have a practice arena? Where are they?
Sure, they have the practice arena up at Northgate, and then they have
Hmm,
the climate change arena, where Key Arena was previously. So yeah, plenty of facilities to do what they need to do.
okay, so that'll be interesting to kind of see how that team progresses. Um, Cleveland, I've been getting a lot of mail, text messages, and emails. Cleveland, let the people know where they can find you, and so they can send these messages to you directly.
Oh, certainly at Clevie Wonder on Twitter and Cleavon Steel on Instagram.
So the fans have already found out they can find me at What's Good in Sport on Instagram. Also, hit me up on Voice of Fans page, Voice of the Fans on Instagram as well. And Cleveland, what the notes are telling me is sadly, people feel like you jinxed the Mariners. I
Oh,
gave
I
you
absolutely
120
did not jinx
seconds.
the Mariners. I had them. I had them in my.
Hold on, Senator. Go ahead.
No, no. Please let me know
I
how I
mean,
jinxed the Mariners.
so for every week, I would give you 120 seconds to talk about how the Mariners are progressing, to kind of share your enthusiasm, to let people know that your Mariners was going to the World Series. And in turn, the week you decide to no longer give them your feedback, no longer, get in the locker room and be ready for them, you bailed on them. You didn't want to talk about them the last 2 weeks, and
I
here they go
absolutely did.
struggling.
Fans, I
You bailed
absolutely
on them
did
and did
not
not want to talk
bail
about them.
on the Seattle Mariners from the beginning of the season. I have been telling everyone how much I was impressed with this team, how much I supported this team, how much I believed in this team. However, my co-host has always got toxic negative energy for the Seattle Mariners,
Oh,
and I did not
oh,
want that toxic negative energy to leak into what they were doing, most notably an opportunity to make the playoffs with 3 straight wins over the weekend. So yeah, the last 2 weeks I did not give my opinion on what the Mariners were doing because yes, I am superstitious. As you guys know, quite a few baseball heads are superstitious, and in addition, I did not want the toxic leakage of the Cam Buford opinion getting on what the Mariners were doing. So, fans, please understand, I was not leaving the Mariners out to dry. I was not turning my back on them. I simply wanted the best for them and understood that there were certain provisions that I had to take in order to make that happen.
I mean, that sounds like a bunch of hogwash, man. You was talking about them for 8 weeks straight, and then all of a sudden, when they need you to talk about them, they need you to
That's
create
see,
some
Cam. That
enthusiasm.
just means you don't understand baseball. They didn't need me to talk about them. They needed me to let them do what they do and not interject um, your negativity from the other side into what it is that they were trying to do.
So I'm not sure. My negativity. Did you see me up at the plate one time? Did you see me catching pass from
And Cam, if it was up to you, they'd be in Portland right now.
Hey,
So
you damn
and
right. You damn right.
and
That was my next question.
you
Are you
see what I'm
ready to
saying?
move into?
You see what I'm
Are you
saying?
ready to
And
move into Portland?
at the stage they were at, this close to the playoffs, I couldn't let that seep into what they were trying to do. So yeah, I did shelter them from what you were thinking about them
Well, I mean, you can't.
in a superstitious fashion, fans. I mean, that's just how baseball goes.
Yeah, that's how baseball went, and the Mariners went running out the door. Sadly to say, um, it was a sad day in history, but I mean that things happen for a reason like that, right, Cleveland? Things
Well, Cam,
happen.
as I said, they did have a winning record, and they were, a mere game out of the playoffs. So, yeah, far exceeding your expectations, not mine, but definitely you. And I think you'll probably have a little bit different expectation of them next year, and probably put a little speck on their name. So I'm just anticipating.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Well,
But
if
we'll
not,
see.
if not, then you'll be on the outside looking in, my friend,
Looking at what? Outside looking in at what?
at the
Ano-
Mariners in the playoffs.
Another another disappointing losing season. Is that what
Cam, I don't
you
know,
know?
man. You still want to make that wager? The Mariners make the playoffs before the Dolphins do.
Oh, what's on the table there? What's on the table? Sure, we can make that one. What's on the table? You gonna think about that when you come back to me on that
No, no,
one?
no, no. I just said it. The Mariners will make the playoffs before the Miami Dolphins make the playoffs.
For what's on the table?
Oh, that's Daniels. That's straight Daniels.
Well, I mean, I'll take that. I can't be mad at too many meals. I'll take that. That'll be a good meal. I'll be happy
Okay,
about.
beautiful. So when the Mariners make the playoffs next year, we're good to go, right?
We're good to go.
Understand that the Dolphins are not going to make the playoffs this year, so they would have to make the okay. I just want you to understand the parameters of what it is that I'm saying.
This guy. So Cleveland, looking back at our picks from this week here, week 5 in NFL. I'll read the ones that we disagree on because there's not many of them. So again, I'll mention the games that we disagreed on. We both have Miami. Which games did we agree on? We both agreed KC will win. You took the spread on that one. We agreed on everything. It looks like I have Tennessee over Buffalo on Monday Night Football.
Okay, yeah, we disagree about that.
That's one we disagree with. Uh, additionally, our confidence picks. I got the Chargers, Dallas, Arizona Cardinals, Los Angeles Rams, and the Buccaneers. You have Dallas, Indy, Denver, and then KC and Kansas City and the Rams. Fantasy football, Cleveland. You're happy. You're 4-1 right now. Hasn't been the best start of my career, but I know I do finish strong. So I got 4-1 right now. I'm only a game back of you, really, really a game back of you. Some may say 2, but I'm only a game behind you. What's that?
No, please continue. I mean, I understand how devastating my team is. I mean, I just want to hear some more excuses and explanations as to why you were in the position you're in.
Um,
I already know why I'm in the position I'm in because I have a great, spectacular team.
my team hasn't shown hasn't all. They're not hitting on all cylinders right now. That's been a huge bug of the problem. They're not hitting on all cylinders, and when your team is not hitting on all cylinders playing fantasy football, the opponent's team is likely hitting on all cylinders, and that's exactly what I expected this season. So,
and fans, what he won't tell you is that his bench actually outscored his starting team.
Again, we
He
haven't.
didn't want to mention that part, and it is slightly embarrassing. But yes, that's a real thing that actually happened.
Again, my team isn't hitting on all cylinders right now, so we have some ground to
And
make
in
up.
some reasons, the team is hitting on all cylinders is just poor management of the team.
Oh, wait, that's nothing.
Your bench should never outscore your starters, right?
Well, I bought in.
Okay, well that's cool, man. We don't need to hear all your
I
explanations
bought
and
in Jones
all
last
your
week.
back and forth about it. All I'm saying is your bench outscored your starting team, and that should never happen. So perhaps better
Again, it tells me
fantasy football team management would yield better results. That's all I'm saying.
that tells me that I have.
But that's okay, Cam. You don't need to get into all the particulars about why you did what you did.
No. I was just that points out the fact that I have a squad, and because the guys on my bench
squad you just haven't figured out how to manage correctly just yet.
Because the guys on my team are still looking for ways to use up my card.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Tell the fans that then.
This guy, oh my goodness, he's full of himself. Our supremacy rankings for this season, supremacy meaning who's number one and who do we have ranked number one? We go from 0 to 1. Well, my list is not in order. It's not in any particular order. I just got 16. I guess you could say it's in order. Is your list in order?
My list is in order, yes.
So I have as my number 5 team, I have the Cowboys and you have the Rams. Number 4 team I have is Packers, you have the Bucks. The number 5 team, the number 2 team is I have the Rams, you have the Cardinals. And the number 1 team I have in the NFL right now is the Cardinals, you have the Bills. So I was telling you, the Bills don't even make my top 5 right now.
I heard. And who's my number 2 team, Cam? Because you kind of bypassed that.
You have the Cardinals. You have the Cardinals. Those are my number 1 teams.
Okay, so then who's my number 3 team? I think you got to kind of order kind of misconstrued.
Oh boy, no, I'm sorry. You got the Chargers at number 3.
And they didn't make your list, right?
The Chargers did not make my list. I got Dallas instead. I got Dallas who beat the Chargers on my list instead. Okay. So I'm just interested in how you boy once you join the wagon.
I hope we can still scan your SoFi card, with those type of statements.
I mean, there's no problem with them. I predicted 11 wins. I mean, I predicted a winning season.
Well, wow.
So no,
apparently not impressed by the win over Kansas City. Apparently not impressed by the win over Cleveland. That's up to you, Cam.
Yeah, I was less improved by the job that they did with the Bengals.
Okay, well, up to you, man.
We do have a couple supremacy rankings this week. We have a new category, 100K picks for fictitious money. And we have 2 picks in there. I got the Cowboys. Who did you have? I don't have that file open specifically.
Who do I have as far as winning this week?
Yeah, for your fictitious picks. Your fictitious.
I got Tampa over Philly.
You got Tampa, and I got the Cowboys winning their game. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how those break down. We'll be able to count some money next week, and maybe Cleveland will start wanting to itemize some stuff. Fans, I want to leave you guys with this quote before we get out of here. Maybe you remember this quote, maybe you recall this quote, but if you didn't, please listen up. If somebody says no to you, or if you get cut out, or if you get cut, Michael Jordan was the first cut in his first year, but he came back, and when he came back and he was the best ever. That's what you have to have, that attitude that I'm going to show everybody. I'm going to work harder and get better and get better. That was from the great Magic Johnson. No mention of LeBron in there. No mention of the other guy. This team is wanting to come back and get their mind right and do whatever it takes to win. So just kind of wanted to leave you guys with that. Thank you again for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast.
Have a great night, everybody.
Yeah, I want you to have a great night too, Cleveland. Thank you for tuning in. Fans, thank you for once again hanging with us. As always, be sure to rate, subscribe, rate, and review. Hit the guys up at HMB Media TV if you haven't done so already. And as always, Cleveland, thank you for making our voice your choice. Have a good one.